Hey guys, Everything Fondant here, and today I'm going to show you how to make this Pokemon Go cake. So the bottom tier of my cake is actually going to be the map that you can see on your app whenever you're playing Pokemon Go. And so I had a green base for the grass, and then what I'm doing now is just marking out where I want to put my roads with water, because that's what I use as my glue. So I cut out some thin black strips out of black fondant, and that's what I'm going to use as my little roads. I just lay them over where I brush the water and try to keep them really straight so it can be a nice straight even road. And then just cut off the extra fondant, and there you go. I've never actually played Pokemon Go, but from looking on Google and the screenshots, this is kind of the best idea that I could get of what the app actually looks like in the maps that you use. So I pretty much made my own little map design here. As you can see, all of these are little roadways that I've made out of the black fondant, and I'll follow it up with some yellow fondant. So basically I just cut really thin yellow strips out of fondant, and I'm just going to put it on every side of the black fondant. As far as I can tell, that's what the roads look like on the app, and that's why I chose to do it like this. It's kind of a tedious process, but I think it makes it look a lot better, and so it's definitely well worth the effort, in my opinion anyway. So I just do this for every single side of the black fondant. So as you can see, I got all of the yellow pieces put in place, and every single little roadway has a yellow lane surrounding each side. The next thing I did was just take a paintbrush with water and kind of brush all of the powdered sugar off so it can look nice and clean. And here's the finished map. So now comes the fun part, which is the Pokeball. I started by covering a sphere of cake in white fondant, and then I went ahead and rolled out some red fondant, and I'm going to cut that in a circle so that can be the top half of the Pokeball. In order to make the sphere of cake, I actually had cake pans that you can make into like a basketball or a baseball, and it's from Wilton, so just be looking out for that. It actually made this a lot easier. The pans are basically just two halves of spheres that you put together after you bake the cake in them. So once I had the red circle cut out, I just went ahead and brushed the top half of my white sphere with water, so that I can go ahead and put the red part on, and that will be my top of the Pokeball. This part was just a little bit tricky, so you just have to be careful and don't press too hard once you lay it on, just because obviously, as you will see, I had to continuously pick the fondant back up in order to smooth it out. So you don't want to press too hard as you're doing this, but basically what you want to do is make sure that it's completely smooth and straight and get all the wrinkles out. And the way I do that is just by picking up the edges and kind of pulling them towards myself and smoothing it out as I go. Once it's fairly smooth, I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and just kind of cut off the little excess parts of this that I don't really need, because I don't want to cover the whole thing, just the top half of it. So I just cut and remove the bottom part that I don't need. Once I got it all cut, I just took a fondant smoother and just kind of smoothed over the whole thing to get it on there and make sure that it was on there very well. So the next thing I did was cut out another strip of black fondant, this time a little thicker than I did for the roads, and I'm just going to use water again to brush around the middle of this Pokeball so that I can put the black strip right around the middle. So I went ahead and wrapped the strip around the middle, and I'm going to cut off the excess and make sure it's lined up pretty well. And you have your little black border that goes around the middle. I also cut out a black circle that I'm going to put right in the middle, and that will be the little background for the button of the Pokeball. I actually put it right over the seam, and this is a good way to kind of hide your seams too. So I went ahead and cut out 2 white circles. One's a little bigger and one's a little smaller, but they're both smaller than the black circle, so that the black circle can be like a little background. So I go ahead and put those on for my button. And there's a finished Pokeball. I think it turned out pretty good for my first try. I'm not a big fan, like I said, so hopefully I did it justice. So now it's time to attach the Pokeball to the map that I made earlier. I just put 2 wooden dowels under where the cake's gonna go, and I put a little bit of icing on there to act as my glue. I just carefully had to pick it up and just go ahead and put it right on top. Very, very carefully, trying not to smash it. And make sure it's positioned in the middle. And there you go. For this cake, I also made some little Pokestops that I saw on the app as well. Basically, I just rolled out some blue fondant and made some cubes. And I took some floral wire that you can find in at Walmart in the fake flower area. And I also cut out some really thin squares. And I just insert the floral wire right into the middle of the little square first. And obviously it's going to want to try to slide down, but if you can just press the fondant a little bit in the middle, it should stick on pretty easily. So then I just take one of the cubes and go ahead and insert that as well. Obviously I didn't go all the way through on this one because we want that to be at the very top. And there you go. It's a pretty easy Pokestop, and I let these, I let them dry a couple of days just so that they would stick and not try to fall down or anything like that. So this time when I wrote the name on my little banner, I decided to try to make it into the Pokemon font. Usually I just write it freehanded or try to make it pretty, but this time I wanted it to look more like the Pokemon title. And so I took a blue food marker. Basically it's just a marker that has food coloring in it, and so it's completely edible. And I went ahead and started writing out the letters, leaving the middle open so that I could color it in with yellow. And there you go, a Pokemon font. So now it's time to add the finishing touches to the cake so that it can be complete. And I'm going to take the little banner that I just made and go ahead and put that right in the middle under the Pokeball. And as you can see, I inserted some floral wire so that it can stay in place. And of course I did that a couple of days early so that it would have time to dry. And then I took the Pokestops and went ahead and just started inserting those wherever I thought would be a good spot for a Pokestop. After I put all of the Pokestops in, it's pretty much a finished cake. It was pretty simple and just turned out really nice, I think. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment below. And as always, God bless and have an awesome day.